I don't know what day it is today, but this has been a wonderful conference. Chip and Sally, thank you very much for this opportunity. We're a small nonprofit with the modest goal of restoring ecosystems to reverse global warming. And then maybe next month we'll do something else. But in the meanwhile, we've held 9 conferences in the past 2.5 years with speakers from around the world, participants and scientists demonstrating what can be done with land when we treat it right. All 170 of our speaker videos are on our website, in your spare time, of course. We are part of a growing movement promoting restoration of biodiversity, healthy soils, and the dramatic healing of billions of dead acres, bringing them back to life, and along the way pulling out of carbon out of the atmosphere and making it cool again. People come to our conferences all doomy and gloomy because they don't know about the universe of options and opportunities, and then they leave regaled with possibilities of hope and saying, why didn't someone tell us about this? We're an activist think tank. We're compiling a compendium of scientific and practical literature that supports eco-restoration as a primary approach to global warming. There's powerful evidence behind this work, but it's scattered all across scientific disciplines and land management practices. People doing extraordinary work in one field don't know about what other people are doing in other fields. We're trying to help connect those dots and move forward in this era, this growing era of systems thinking, where the whole is so much greater than any of its parts, where the whole may look even entirely different from any of its parts. Hydrogen, a gas. Oxygen, a gas. Put them together, you get water. Whoever would have guessed that such a simple compound could change the world, could actually make the world? We do education, research, and outreach. We help introduce and promote remarkable work done by people such as Alan Savory and Daniela Howell of the Savory Institute, Michael Krafjic of People and Water, Rajendra Singh, the waterman of India, author, teacher, and innovator Hunter Lovins, and not to mention biochar pioneers and permaculturists around the world. Yesterday I met Mike Bowman, and he told me about the climate and many other virtues of industrial hemp. I learn something every day. The list goes on and on. All hands are coming on deck, and we need all hands, everybody, a family of people and all species. We are not alone. We can't survive alone. So I'm going to start with some quick good news that you all know about, and then do a quick review of some really bad and ugly news that you all know about, and then spend most of the time on what I hope is inspirational and the hint of a future that we can have if we want it, and maybe a few things that you don't know about. So the good news is that solar is hitting its stride. All kinds of new energy-saving innovations are online, and emissions appear to be going down. And you all know that, so I'm not going to say anything more about it. And there's a dark side, pushing nature to the very brink of disaster, and nature is pushing back hard. You all know that too. Arctic melting, methane bubbling, forests flaming, seas storming, waters drying, food vanishing, and human masses with nowhere to go. All of this is not in 20 or 50 years, but right now in a neighborhood near you, decades ahead of schedule, breathtakingly quickly. A very brief tour, because you already know this. Methane, bubbling up. Could be that we get a burp of 1,000 gigatons of carbon dioxide equivalent. That's 500 parts per million. It could happen overnight. We sure hope it doesn't, but it is a possibility. The ice is melting, we all know that, and it's getting very, very hot, hotter and hotter every year. 128.3 Fahrenheit, 0.3 degrees Fahrenheit in May in Pakistan. Hottest temperature ever recorded in the month of May and it's happening all over the world. For those of you from Phoenix, you know the story. So it's a grim picture, and it's not any wonder that people deny the existence or the severity of global warming. We go about our daily lives as if we were living on another planet, but we are not. The unfortunate bottom line here is that emissions reductions and conservation, as important as they are not nearly enough to turn this catastrophic ship around. Even if we go to zero emissions tomorrow, we must do something else. Asking the question that always comes up at our conferences, what else can we possibly do? As Maggie Fox was telling us on Monday, to do something new, we have to tell a new narrative, a new story. A story that speaks to us of what we want and of who we are. So I'm going to throw my hat into that ring as Hunter and David did this morning, and we'll see what comes out. The old narrative is greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases are climate, where we may only mitigate and struggle to adapt, and we'll have to do some of that no matter what. The new narrative is also a much bigger, a system story narrative. It's a story of how we look back from a renewed, healthy, biodiverse, and abundant planet and marvel at how, for the better, we changed the course of life on Earth. Earth is the planet of life. Biology crafted Earth. Without life, Earth would be just another rock in space like Mars or Venus. Life has terraformed the Earth. 3.5 billion years ago, simplest microbes came around. Life began to craft its own environment. It created new niches favorable to itself in a seemingly endless cascade of biological creativity. Over the eons, one-celled creatures grew into endless variety, joined together in larger cooperative groups, invented all manner of biochemistry, and eventually made it onto land to become terrestrial flora and fauna. Life even gave us an oxygen atmosphere. Life exploded into countless millions of species. Some of them, such as earthworms, have been around for 500 million or more years and still flourish. Others had a respectable stay until something changed too drastically, like dinosaurs bumped off the evolutionary train by an errant meteor. That's not a real dinosaur, but it was the best I could do. And humans, well, we're the babes in the evolutionary woods, maybe 200,000 years old. If the living world can do all of this, can it pull a few parts per million of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases out of the atmosphere? I think so. There are excellent reasons both in science and in practice to believe that it can remedy our climate mess and actively repair our life support system. We need to face that and talk about it. Nothing is more important than the life support system. While they are all important, nothing, not economics, not politics, not art, not science, are as important as the life support system. We actually can live without them. But no life support system, no life. It's time to focus on the incredible biological world, of which we are an intimate part. If we tell the new narrative and look at global warming as the consequence of the destruction of billions of acres of living landscapes around the world, then the set of possibilities, the set of solutions will take off like a diving peregrine falcon. Life wants to generate abundance in biodiverse ecosystems. It just needs a little help from us to get started. We just need to up the ante by 3 orders of magnitude. We're doing it on millions of acres around the world right now. Got to grow. The cost is minimal, it's low tech, it brings food, water, work, tames the weather, prevents floods and drought, averts scarcity-driven war and conflict. It may sound too good to be true, but healthy life support systems are like that. Nature's package deal. Here are some of the many examples of what's happening now, what we can do everywhere. We only need to have at it. There are no guarantees, of course. This is uncharted territory, but this is our last best hope to turn this entire climate ship around. And with a net negative cost and so many benefits, what on earth are we waiting for? It's all about biology. I used to live at that house, and one day it was 90 degrees outside. I took my kitchen thermometer, I measured the temperature under the bushes, across the grass, and onto the asphalt. So 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Would anybody care to venture a guess on the temperature difference between the warmest and the coolest spot? 20. 30. I hear 30. 60? What are you, nuts? Anybody else? 65. Ready for Social Security? 60 it is. 60 degrees. And it's all because of cover and water. Yes. This is Elko, Nevada, northeastern Nevada. 10 degrees of rain, 10 degrees of rain, 10 inches of rain per year. In 1989, in the upper left is Susie Creek, and with a little help from holistic planned grazing and non-human friends like our little beaver friend there. In 2015, this is Susie Creek, the same spot in the 5th year of the worst drought in memory. If we can do that in Nevada, we can do that anywhere. All that green you see, that's carbon dioxide that used to be in the atmosphere. And that surface will cycle, but the roots are going down deep. The muck at the bottom of the ponds and the rivers, that's a lot of carbon. Here's another site, Cuenca Los Ojos, on the Arizona-Mexico border. Michael Kravchuk, who is a Slovakian hydrologist, has this technique of making little check dams, and lo and behold, 2 years later, the site is transformed. It can happen very fast. It depends upon how much water there is and other things, but it can happen and does happen. It's predictable. Here's another site in Slovakia, 9 months from erosion gullies to living plants, and it even sprouted a dog. This is how Michael did it. In 1995, the Slovakian government wanted to build this huge mega concrete dam, and the people fought against it, and so Michael took over, and there they are on the left, building their check dam, and that's what it looks like. And it catches silt and nutrients and water. The water flows through slowly. You want water to flow slowly, and within a few years, you've got a whole different habitat. This is India, Rajendra Singh, who's known as the waterman of India in the driest province, Rajasthan. He has helped restore 7 rivers and has worked with over 1,000 villages where people have left to go to the cities because there was no water and no work, inability to farm, and they came back to their villages, and now they have water. This is Africa Center for Holistic Management, one of Alan Savory's projects. That land had been abandoned and desertified for decades, and with proper management of livestock, in 3 years, turns around. And can we do this in cities? Somerville, Massachusetts. Backyard, it's a depaving party. They tear up the asphalt, they smile at the end after the pizza and the music, and a year later, you have that. That's in Massachusetts with 45 inches of rain. It helps when you've got a lot of water, but as we see in Nevada, we can do it anywhere. Here's from academic science, 5 times the production just from using cover crops. And results from using microbes, and more we're learning it's all about microbes. Forget the N, the P, and the K. Put in the microbes. They'll get them for you. 10 tons of carbon per hectare per year. On a normal site, you might find 1, 2, maybe 3. So that's an attempt at a new narrative in 15 minutes, a narrative of a world we can restore, of life as an interconnected, interdependent, complex system of which we are a part. a narrative that has possibilities that we have yet to imagine. So please go to bioforclimate.org, check out our conferences page, watch some of the videos, take a look at our compendium. It's a draft release, but will give you an idea of what we're doing. We'll hope to have a full release out soon. And if you'd like to contribute to it, please just get in touch with me and let me know. Be happy to have you join us. Or just call me and chat. Extinction is not an option of choice. We will continue to figure this out together. Thank you.